I grew up with the thought of like, I need to get my career figured out, which was my CPA. I need to go to school, that kind of stuff. And then when I start my career, I'm going to work my way up the corporate ladder. Like that was literally the only thing I knew. And like mentally, I was like locked to that 2 week paycheck. And I didn't realize how much that was the case until I left the 9 to 5. But on my way out, I am a pretty conservative individual. So I wasn't just like the entrepreneur that like jumps and just like, hopefully it works out. So I started building my online presence, and I didn't even realize at the time that this was really what it was going to be today. And I was just helping people. Like I was sharing our story. We were paying off a bunch of debt. We paid off $304,000 of debt in 5 years. We were focused but not finished, as Mr. Chris Hogan says on the Ramsey Show, or when he used to be there. And I love that saying because that's exactly where we were. And so being able to take that leap of faith, I didn't realize it was even an opportunity when I first started. It was kind of like I was doing this on the side, but I still was very focused on my career. But then I started listening to Brunson and Hormozy and all these other people that have done it. And I realized the practical expert out there is really who you want to follow. And those were the practical experts. And so I started following, listening. So I created a plan. And that plan was to leave my 9 to 5 in 12 months. And so that came short 2 months due to a story I will share in a second. But the goal was to match at or above my 9 to 5 income for 12 straight months. At month 10, Deloitte found out that I was doing this on the side. They did not like that. They called me out. And so my goal was to stay 2 more months. I was actually on pace to do exactly what I was expecting to do. And they said, listen, you have two options. You can get rid of your account and you can continue to work here, or you can keep your account and you won't work here. And so I was very shocked by that, to be honest. There was some chatter. I remember the Skype through Deloitte. Some people were messaging me. It must have gotten through the office. And I had the call with HR. I had the call with the lead partner, and I said, guys, listen, this is like exactly what I want to do. By no means is this a conflict of interest. I don't see this as being a conflict of interest. They agreed there really wasn't a conflict of interest based on the profession I was in. But they didn't want me to put my face out there and have a brand and, potentially ruin it or whatever the case was. And so I wasn't willing to do that. So I stood on business and I said, listen, I'm going to be taking the leap of faith. I'm going to be going into entrepreneurship. And thank you for your time here. And I think they were shocked. They were truly shocked. They thought they had the upper hand. They thought they could bully their way through that, just like typical corporate does. I remember specifically Mike Fox, his name. I will call him out because he was extremely disrespectful on that call. And we had a call on a Friday. We were going to reconvene on a Monday. And we met on that Monday, and he said that he became a connoisseur of budget dog. That exact comment had me extremely fired up to this day that I'm talking about it 3-4 years later. And I made sure at that moment that I would create something that would put him to bed. Quite honestly, like good or bad or in between, that motivated me. So we did that. And we built something really, really special. But sometimes you're forced, and sometimes I think everything I do in life is like I plan. All of a sudden something happens and I got to make a move. This has happened countless times, but this was one of the big ones where it was uncomfortable, but I was so motivated that I was able to fight through that pain and fight through that uncomfortableness to just go full time. And, that was the best moment of my life. And at the time, it didn't feel like it. It felt like a lot of chaos. But I'm so happy we took that leap of faith. And I'm so glad Mike Fox decided to say that to me because it motivated me to another level I didn't know I even had in myself.
Dude, that's amazing. That is a wild story there. We've done over 40 interviews talking about people's leap of faith moment and all that stuff. And like every time it's normally like, there's not really a push, but you had like an actual push moment. And it was very polarizing, right? Because it's like you're either committing to it and you're doing it now, or you're committing to staying in line, and that's wild. And then that coworker, man, that's that
Well,
corporate.
funny enough, he was not even, well, he was a coworker, I guess, but he was the lead partner
Oh,
at
okay.
the Cincinnati office, and I think he still is. And I actually see on LinkedIn, I always see his anniversary every single year of like 29 years, 30 years, and like some people are like, that's not good to be motivated by that, but the reality is like you can't really fix that. Like that's what motivates you or what doesn't motivate you. Just use it as a tool. And I use it as a tool. And so, I don't back down from anything. That's one thing I'm really, really strong in, is like, if I commit to something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, go all the way to the finish line, and there's no half in, half out type stuff. And so when I was forced to do that, in the disrespect I received, there was no other option. Like, it was a non-negotiable. It was gonna happen, and so we've already built this past anything I would have done at Deloitte, like, without question. But I want to take this 100 steps further, and I want to take this to the moon, and I know we will. Just a matter of time, having patience, having strategy, all that kind of stuff, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see where it will go. But I do always recommend anybody thinking about taking that leap of faith, find that motivator that's going to take you to that next level. You'd be amazed at how many levels you have in yourself that you just haven't recognized yet, and you haven't come to the realization, or you have a lack of awareness. I have a huge lack of awareness, probably to this day, to be honest, of what we could do. But I'm starting to come more and more to that realization of, like, the mountaintop that we actually can get to, and I think we can dominate anybody in the financial space, to be honest. I would say that my drive isn't really competition of the financial space. It's to be the best of version of ourselves. But I do think, as a result, if I were to reach that, then the competition would take care of itself. We would dominate that competition. But yeah, again, man, it's leading with a good purpose, leading with your heart, and giving back and helping, but using that motivation tool as much as you possibly can.
Amen to that. Yeah, there's so much to be said about wherever that motivation comes from. It's like, just let it be the fuel to the fire. Don't worry about what it is too much. Just do it, because
Doesn't matter.
you're gonna need to get over so much different, like, resistance points throughout the whole journey and everything. Yeah. So
Resistance, that's a good point that you brought up. Resistance, I bring up a lot. The person that keeps the bar on their chest for the longest has the biggest chest. And so when somebody can, I think the most successful people can just deal with more resistance for a longer period of time. And I think that's, like, the secret. Like, you don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be, like, the best person in the industry. You have to be able to withstand challenge and overcome anything, in fact. And if you're able to do that for a long period of time, you're going to win. Like, you just will. You'll find ways to win. And so there's so many different ways to win, but I think the resistance, like, I talk about that so much, is like, people are always trying to find this hack or tip or trick. It's like, it's a systematic approach. It's a long-term game. You have to be able to deal with a lot of stuff, and you have to get hit in the face and get back up every single time. And you're going to get hit in the face, like, a lot, like, really, really hard. And it's not going to feel great. And you get used to it to the point where it's like, you're kind of numb. You kind of just get up because you're supposed to. You don't even feel the pain anymore.
yeah, without a doubt. No, that's too true. If you want to save time on watching all the episodes, but still get all the gold nuggets that we find from interviewing these 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, then you can get all of that inside of the 2 Comma Club newsletter. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com and subscribe.